Good afternoon, everyone. We are the Group 6 and we will be discussing all about the environmental change, an international lender of a last resort, the monetary policy during crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, and also the global financial crisis in 2008. I am Jonalyn Cernal and I will be the first reporter that we will be discussing all about the environmental change, international resort, and also the common expansionary measures. Monetary authorities just like central bank and other nga mga international financial institutions, ni-play sila sang critical role during the global crisis. These institutions ni-act sila as a lender of a last resort in offering financial assistance, policy guidelines, and also as the liquidity to stabilize the economy. The crisis, just like climate change, COVID-19, and also the global financial crisis, sila ang ni-test sang limit kag pose sa monetary policy globally. And now let's talk about the environmental change. Environmental change, these are the changes in our natural world just like fire, air, water, and also the weather over time. These changes can be caused by the people or human nga gitawag naton kag also the nature. So human may gitawag kita nga pollution and cutting down trees or gitawag naton na deforestations, and also sa nature naman is pollutions and also the storm. These changes can also harm or affect the people's health, farming, and also the economy. Example niya kay ang climate change, air, and also water pollution. And now let's talk about the international lender of a last resort. When we say international lender of a last resort, it is the essential functions performed by the central bank or other financial institutions during crisis. This entity, sila ang mo step in to provide mga financial support. Particularly, this financial support can form as loan, collateral, and also financial instrument. Also, international lender of a last resort, it is a big organizations that help the countries, especially when they are in the serious financial trouble, and their purpose is to provide liquidity during the crisis and also preventing market freezes and systemic collapse. This rule is to extend the crisis that get triggered by the environmental factors. Then, think about like this. If ang usa ka countries kay ma-round up sa money, then dili sila makabayad sang ila utang. Or shall we say, dili sila makapalit sa mga imports, just like mga foods kag mga fuels. So, ang international lender of a last resort, sila ang mo step in or mo-provide sa mga emergency funds to those countries nga nanginahanglan. Then, example niya kay ang International Monetary Fund. International Monetary Fund, they are the one to provide significant lending capacity to those countries nga naka-face ang fiscal shock. It also manage mga crisis and also support the economic recovery. Then why is it essential to have the environmental change in monetary policy during crisis? It's because when the natural disaster comes, just like mga floods, then it can hurt the economy. So the central bank, sila ang mo change ang interest rate kag also mo print sila more money para mo provide sa to sa countries to recover. So they may able also to help or to support the banks and also people who lose everything. Then the monetary policy, sila ang mo respond to those nga sino ang naka-face sa mga environmental shock or it can cause by economic problems. When it comes naman to international lender of a last resort in monetary policy during crisis, this is during the big financial crisis, then a country might be run out of foreign money just like mga US dollar. So dili sila makabayad sang ilang mga debt kag also di sila makapalit sang ilang mga imports. So the international lender of a last resort sila ang ni-step in para magpa-lend sang money quickly. It is because it can help to stabilize the country's economy, maka-restore sila sang trust kag also makahatag sila time to fix the problem, especially to those countries that are nearly broke. This too is both essential because it helped the country to survive and also to recover using the smart money decision. And now let's proceed to the purpose in monetary policy during crisis. When it comes to environmental change, wa siya purpose. But kung may aring mga natural disaster just like sa mga floods, then ang central bank must restored. It's because ang iya sini-impact sa monetary policy first is to damage the economy. Damage economy which is less productions but the higher prices or gitawag naton nga inflations. Then ikaduha naman ang mga food shortages. Food shortages, this is the price goes up and also the people can be lose their homes and also their jobs. Then the central bank might help by first is to lower the interest rate so that the borrowing to make cheaper. Then ikadua naman, provide sila money to those affected areas. And the last one is to support sa mga banks kag also insurance company because their goals is to help the country's economy to recover and also stop things from getting worse. Then ang purpose naman sa international lender of a last resort, usually the IMF or the International Monetary Funds and other nga mga big financial organizations kay mobayad sang ila debt, mobay sa mga important na imports, mo give some advice in fixing the economy and also to control the currency value. It's because ang iya sini-impact in monetary policy first is to give nga mga foreign currency support to protect sa mga reserves. Ikaduwa, i-allow ang mga central bank to avoid nga i-raise ang mga interest rate nga which is too high kag also it also requires the central bank or sa mga countries to control the monetary policy which is i-control ang inflations and i-reduce ang ilang mga debt. It's because ang iya sini goals kay i-support nila ang country's central bank so it can be manage the crisis better. First is the tools and mechanisms. When we say tools and mechanisms, these are the methods of the central bank uses to control the money in the economy. It is the tools in the toolbox to keep the economy stable. Then may ara ni siya gitawag nga mga common tools. First is the interest rate, second is the open market operations, the third one is the reserve requirements, and the last one is the lending to banks. When we say interest rate, these are the central bank raises or ilower niya ang rates to control the spending and also the borrowing. While the open market operation naman, sila ang mo buying and selling the government bonds to control sa mga money supply. Then ang reserve requirements, sila ang motel sa bank kung pila ang kwarta nga ipagawas kag dili ipa-lend out. Then ang lending to banks naman, sila ang central bank mo give sang money or sa mga loans dito sa commercial banks kung waawa ay nagayod. Then it helps the central bank first is to control inflations, ikaduwa naman is support nila ang economic growth, ay katulo is to keep the currency stable and also to encourage or to slow down the spending and also investing. Then ay kadua naman is the systematic risk mitigations. When you say systematic risk mitigation, it is the risk of the whole financial system just like banks, market, and etc. This is could fails not just one part. Example, if ang usa ka big banks kay ma-fails or ma-causes tungod sa pagpanic, then the other banks might be fall also it's because leading to fall mga blown nga mga financial crisis. Then ay katulo kay and the rule of the central bank. The central bank has the main authority para mo-control sa monetary policy in the country. So nano ang buhaton sa central bank? So ang buhaton sa central bank first is to set nila ang ila interest rate, i-manage nila ang ila inflations, i-print nila kag also mo-manage sila sa ila money supplies, mo-supervise kag mo-support sila sa mga banks kag mo-act sila as lender of a last resort during crisis. It's because ang ila sini goals is to keep the economy stable, growing, and also to save. And now let's talk about the monetary policy during crisis, the common expansionary measures. These common expansionary measures, it is used to boost the countries when it's weak during the recessions, pandemic, or mga financial crisis. Their goals is to increase the spending, encourage borrowing, investing, and support the business or jobs. And the first one is the lowering interest rate. Central bank cuts interest rate that which are cost of borrowing money. When the interest rate is low down, then the loans became more cheaper, especially for cars, businesses, and also homes. Then the people and also businesses can borrow more and also saving less interest so people can spend more rather than saving. And why is it important during crisis? First, it's because it helped to boost demand and restart the economy. It also helped to make the businesses and people to easier nga makawam sila kwarta kag also i-keep nila ang ilang mga workers and also encourages consumers to spend more money and help the economy grow again. Example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many countries just like sa US or the United States, gilower nila ang interest rates to nearly zero. It's because to fight economic slowdown. And the second one is the quantitative easing. When we say quantitative easing, when central bank creates new money to buy mga financial asset, usually mga government bonds, from banks and also and financial institutions. So here's what happened. Central bank buys nga mga bonds, kag ila iput sang money into the economy. Ikadwa naman, banks now have more cash, can lend more to the business and also people. Also, this makes borrowing easier and interest rates lower even on the long-term loans. This means that borrowing makes cheaper and less saving. And also, central bank creates more money to buy bonds and increase liquidity. Why is it used during crisis? First is to help the financial market stable, make sure that there is enough money flowing in the economy, and also boost investment, spending, and confidence.